Good.
And welcome to the Hoodcast. I am joined today for a special edition, the Fightcast, where we recap all of a riveting week of UFC fights, 3 in a week.
Fightcast.
That's pretty solid.
That's actually really solid. Fightcast is a solid name. I like that.
Thank you, man. I'm joined, of course, by a very good comic and a good friend of mine, Alex Green. Alex, thank you for being with me.
No problem, man. No problem. Like I was just telling you, I'm now on furlough.
You're now on furlough.
I've been on furlough for weeks, but now I know my furlough has been extended. I've got an email today saying that it's been extended to the 31st of July. So I'm pretty happy right now. I know this whole thing is affecting a lot of people in different ways, but for me, I mean, I'm having the time of my life. I am not going to lie.
It is pretty good, just stay inside, sit in your plants, playing console games and watching Netflix, drinking beer.
I love it. Yeah.
You don't get judged for it, finally.
Yeah. I rewatched The Wire so far. I'm going to move on to The Sopranos next. The Wire, fuck me. I forgot how good that show is.
It's considered one of the best of all time, isn't it?
And rightly so. Have you seen it?
No, I've never seen it. That was the
Sopranos. Oh, dude. Get it on your list.
Yeah, I've two out of 4 series done of the Last Kingdom, which is basically Netflix's answer to Vikings because Amazon got the exclusive deal. But it's a lot of fun, lots of violence, pretty, like. I
would say, honestly, stop watching that immediately and watch The Wire. Because these newer TV shows like fucking Ozarks, I've just got into season 3 of that, and you know what I realised after rewatching The Wire, that Ozarks is just okay. And you know what? Life's too short for just okay, man.
Yeah,
it is. There are plenty of.
Now's as good a time as any to start watching it.
Yeah, there are plenty of.
I want to get into it, but I don't have the time. I don't have that excuse anymore.
Honestly, dude, The Wire. Right, watch all 5 seasons. Right, I'm going to tell you this right now. It will take you until episode 3 to really get into it. Right, you'll get to episode 2 and you'll think, "What the fuck was Alex talking about? What was Bert talking about? He's an idiot." But then episode 3 will roll around. You'll be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, no, I see where this. Yeah, now I get this." And it's so brilliantly written. Nothing is left to chance. Not one thing. I just watched it again for the 4th time. This is my 4th watch through, right? And I noticed something in season 5 that related back to season 2 that I had never noticed before, ever.
Holy shit!
Do you know what I mean? And I was just like, oh shit! They thought about that. They considered that shit. Yeah, brilliant.
That's amazing. It's like Arrested Development has jokes in series 4 that are set up in series 1, sort of thing.
See, I never got into Arrested Development. I didn't actually watch it.
Yeah, the first few seasons were cancelled are solid. I'd definitely recommend watching the first 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is very much worth your time. But shall we get into the reason we're here, which is UFC?
Yes.
Aren't you glad
you're a pro, Aaron? You're a pro, Aaron, because you've kept me on topic. And I was flying off all over the place. You reined me in. It's good.
It's fine. I usually would just let you go fucking wild, and that's for the 3rd podcast we do. But we've got a lot to get through.
We actually do. Yeah, we do.
For UFC, the fight nights, I have just because I didn't have time to make notes on them all.
Mm-hmm.
I've just done the main events for those 2,
okay.
So we'll go into those properly. But firstly, minus the Smith versus Tejera, because we'll go with those 2, and then we'll do a deep dive on UFC 249 because there's a lot. That was a great.
There is.
But apart from Smith Tejera, what were your kind of fights of the night? Because I know there was a mean heel hook victory on Michael Johnson that I heard about. But what were your fights of the night other than that really stood out to you?
That's a good point. I can't remember who he fought, but Nico Price. Nico Price fought Vicente Luque, in fact. Yeah, Nico Price against Vicente Luque. That was a fucking barn burner. That was that was 249 as well. I think I was on the undercard, but that was an excellent fight. I thought that could have gone either way. I think Vicente Luque got the decision.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, but we were going to do a deep. I have notes on. We're going to discuss the card top to bottom for 249, including prelims.
And there's right. So on scenes, they all melted into one really, and then there's.
I'll whip through the card. Chase Sherman beat Isaac Villanueva via elbows and punches in round 2.
Sherman was excellent. Chase Sherman was excellent. I watched that. I like Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman's one of those guys. He's not really he's not a legit light heavyweight, and he's not a legit heavyweight either. He's kind of somewhere in the middle. But he's one of those guys. He reminds me a little bit of Gian Vellante, in that he's just one of those guys that just he's big, he's tough, he'll chase people down, he'll hit them hard, and like I said, Gian Vellante is very similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Various similarities. He's got a respectable record at 15-6. He's on a 4-fight win streak now. He's done decent. He's not lost to unrespectable opponents. He's lost to people like Walt Harris, Augusto Sakai. So that's pretty decent.
Because that's a heavyweight, isn't it? It was a heavyweight fight, I'm thinking, isn't it? But he's not. He's not a big heavyweight, is he?
No.
He's like 230, 240.
Yeah, he could make light heavyweight easily. It's one of those guys.
Yeah,
I got Brian Kelleher beat Hunter Azure. I hope I'm saying that right.
Oh, I have money on that one because I saw that Brian Kelleher was 8-1 to get the knockout, and I was like, "Are you mad?" Kelleher's starched like so many people, and do you know what? He's only lost to the absolute best. So I stuck a tenner on Kelleher at 8-1 to get the knockout, and he knocked him out. And I was like, "Yeah, well, I thought he would." You know, I kind of sat back and I was like, "Yep, told you."
21 and 10, 8 wins by knockout, 9 by submission, only 4 by decision. That's...
Kelleher's a very good fighter, man. He's very good. I've seen him a few times. He hits hard, and he's just
his last
few
losses
competent.
have been to people like John Lineker, who's got an absolute granite hand, and Montel Jackson and Marlon Vera. So no slouches. He's beat Henan Barral, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but when Henan Barral was at his best? Probably not.
But it's still a respectable notch, isn't it? Yeah, I feel that he obviously probably passed his prime, like you said, but he definitely had some in his locker. Alex, are you there? Alex, sorry, I can't. We appear to have lost Alex briefly. I'm going to go
self off.
Yeah, sorry, you cut out for a bit, Alex. We are back with Alex Green. Sorry about that, mate. We missed a little bit.
My fault.
That's all right, but we're just saying, I think it's still a respectable name to have on your record, isn't it, Henan Barral, even if he is past his prime?
It is, but again, like I said, when I got cut off, right, what I was saying was it's a little bit like beating Anderson Silva after 2016. It just doesn't mean as much, does it?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's already shown to be doable, and he's past his powers. Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Henan Barral, like, whilst he was very, very good, he started getting beaten a lot, and then he popped. Oh no, there was a lot of different things that went on, and I think it's still a good win. It's always a good win against someone who's a former champion. Any win over a former champion is a good win. That's just a fact.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if they're not who they were, it does add prestige to your record, and it adds to your ability.
A feather in the old cap.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Andrei Arlovsky in the we'll glance at Morales, Sajara Eubanks, Thiago Moises won by heel hook. Andrei Arlovsky's back in the win column though. With the beat unanimous decision over Felipe Lins.
Yeah, fucking Andrei Arlovsky, he's dead to me, man. He's dead to me. Because I had a treble on that night. And, Andrei Arlovsky was not the winner in that treble. And he ruined it.
You fucked your treble, mate.
Yeah, come on, Andre. You're supposed to be shit. No. All jokes aside, Orlovsky looked very. Did he look good? Good's a relative term, isn't it? Did he look good enough to beat Philippe Palins? Yes. Did he look good enough to get anywhere in the UFC heavyweight division? No. Not really.
I think they'll probably put him in with Greg Hardy next, and Greg Hardy will just knock him out.
God, I hope not. That'd be upsetting.
Ricky Symon defeated Ray Borg in what was a split decision.
Ricky Symon, I believe, but it's kind of against Ray Borg. I thought Ray Borg would win that, but Ricky Symon just looked so much bigger and more physical. He looked big. In fact, even at one point in the fight, like I think Daniel Cormier said, Ricky Symon, he's looking stacked, he's looking big. And he heard him say that and actually flexed, did the old, arms up in the air, like guns show thing, like in front of him, like as he said it, like just after he said it, and like motioned over to DC. Yeah, he just looked bigger and more physical, man. I don't know if he looked necessarily more skillful, but he definitely looked bigger and more physical.
He packed on the mass.
It was enough to beat Ray Borg on the night. Ray Borg, he's really got to figure out whether he wants to stay doing what he's doing, I think. So,
do you think he might move up or down a division?
No, I think he might retire.
Yeah, what makes you say that?
I just think that he's not young for that division.
Yeah, 26 is for that division in context.
He's only 26. Ray
Borg is 26, yeah.
Scratch what I just said. He ain't retired. He can't retire at 26. That's bullshit.
No. Yeah, even Henry Cejudo, who we'll talk about later, is retired at 33, which is arguably still in the prime.
He's not retired. You're not buying that, are you?
I'm not buying that for a second, mate. He's setting up a super fight for the winner of Holloway.
He just wants to get paid.
Yeah, but we'll get onto that later.
Anyway, we'll get to that.
But he's lost 5 fights, and it seems that when he comes up to a big level, like when he fought DJ, he obviously famously got thrown into that amazing flying armbar. So I think he'll be one of those sort of gateway fights for other fighters who want to fight at the top level of that division.
Either that, or he gets his real estate license. Doing Ally Quenta just.
I love those. For context, Ally Quenta is stepped away from fighting for a bit to become a real estate agent, and if you get a chance, watch those YouTube videos because they are comedy gold.
They're brilliant. I love Ally Quenta. I think he's great. I think
he put in a respectable performance against Khabib. What he took, yeah.
I think he beats most people in the top 10. He does. Yeah. He's a very talented fighter. Very talented.
Yeah, he's a very good fighter. Drawing, obviously, forgot to mention Brian Kelleher versus Hunter won fight of the night, the extra 50 Gs, and apparently well deserved. Drew Dober got a performance of the night bonus for his knockout of Alexander Hernandez.
Yes, Drew Dober is a killer. I've said that before. Actually, I do write some articles for the Sports Dispatch, the sportsdispatch.com, and if you check out their combat sports section, you look into their archives, you'll see that I did write an article on Drew Dober a couple of months ago. I think it was after his last fight from before now, and I've said for some time, Drew Dober, he is somebody to keep an eye on. He is somebody who is going to be making waves in that division because it's lightweight, isn't it?
Yes, lightweight.
Sure it's lightweight. Yeah,
and that's his second performance of the night bonus on the trot.
He's a killer.
He's won the last 3 by knockout. He only needed a round to do. He's only needed 4 rounds to knock out 3 opponents in total. Before then,
and look at the jawline, man. Look how fucking handsome that kid is. You need that. You need that on your roster. He's fucking.
Yeah, he's up there with your Rockhold or your Jabans, isn't he?
Yeah, he ticks all the boxes, and he's a hell of a fighter.
Sage Northcutt, he can actually hang with UFC guys.
Oh, I think Sage got a bad fucking. Sage will probably be back. I don't want to badmouth Sage because
I just wanted to get in an unnecessary controversial opinion.
Yeah, no, that's true. He didn't have the best run in the UFC, but I think Sage will most likely be back. So I like to keep my words short. A load of wins
under his pocket at Bellator, and then he'll be back a changed man.
He's in one, isn't he? One FC.
Oh, he's in one FC. I didn't know that.
I think so.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. But while then, Ben Rothwell's back after being in the steroid wilderness.
Love Ben Rothwell. And also, let's be real. Come on. That must have been a mistake. Have you seen this dude? He's not on steroids. Fuck all that.
Yeah. Sorry. I find it very, very hard to believe, especially when you compare him to someone like Mark Coleman or a Vitor.
Yeah. Look at the dude. I don't think he was on any fucking... Yeah, look at Ubereem. Jesus Christ. But anyway, Ben Rothwell, I had money on him because I thought that, well, how is OSP, an average light heavyweight, going to come up and beat an average heavyweight? He's not. And he didn't.
I had no faith in Vincent Prue winning this, but a split, do you think it was that close?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that close. I was surprised. To see that it was a split decision. Like Ben Rothwell won all 3 rounds. Because I mean, you could argue that OSP knocked him down, but he didn't really. It was a slip. He went down to one knee. It wasn't really a knockdown. But other than that, Rothwell pushed him up against the fence and just dominated him the entire time. It was 3 rounds to nothing. I really don't see how the judges gave it a split, but either way, the right man won.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing. At least he didn't ruin the decision.
Yeah, you could maybe give Ovin St. Preux the second round, maybe, but he just wasn't active enough. He stayed on the back foot the entire time, ran away the entire time. Rothwell was just going forward, pushing him against the fence, doing what he had to do. And I was surprised it was a split, but the right man won.
Yeah. He's obviously, this is his second fight win in a row. He beat Stefan Struve in his last fight, coming off a 3-fight losing streak, but none where he was finished by all unanimous decisions to top heavyweights like Dos Santos, Black Eye Ivanov, and maybe Arlovsky. But he still has wins over people. He's choked out Barnett, Mitrione, he's knocked out Schaub, Vera, Overeem. All of that. So he's a hell of a fighter, Ben Rothwell, and I'm glad to see him in combat.
I like Ben Rothwell. I do.
He's always fun to watch.
He's an old school kind of fighter.
Yeah, and I do like those...
like the Mummy,
Yeah, I do like those sort of fighters. But now we get to the main event, which the only one I actually watched all the way through. Glover Teixeira knocked out, finished Anthony Smith.
Yeah, it was a TKO. It wasn't a knockout.
TKO. Yeah, I could stand corrected. I should have. But yeah, he pulled out the win for Anthony Smith. Smith, I thought, did really well in the first round, but then Glover just took over that fight. Well,
I think part of the problem here was that he could hear his corner too clearly, and that his corner was frantic, which made him frantic.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like there, I kept on asking that all you could hear were instructions from Smith's corner, from Teixeira's corner, nothing. Just go out there and fight.
Like once every minute or so. You barely hear anything, especially over Smith's corner shouting.
I think that caused Smith to possibly expend too much energy, and against somebody like Teixeira, I don't think Teixeira. Controversial opinion here. I don't think Teixeira looked good as much as Anthony Smith looked bad in the second, third, and fourth.
Yeah.
I don't think that Teixeira necessarily looked any better than he has done. Teixeira like, if you let him catch you, he's going to catch you. He's going to do it. So, I mean, the guy's a beast. He is.
Yeah.
And he belongs in the top 10 of that heavyweight division. But do I see him beating John Jones fighting the way that he fought Anthony Smith? No.
No, hell no.
No, I don't see that.
I don't. Yeah, and I sort of agree. And it was pointed out by the commentary team that the disparity in communication with the corner, and it looked like it froze him. And not only can you hear all of this stuff, sometimes contradictory information or quick information over a short period of time, so can your opponent. So if you don't follow their advice, you maybe don't tweak it so you can deal with your opponent. But if you follow it, they know what they're exactly going to do, and you're going to get in trouble. And I think any fighter with Glover's experience is just going to overwhelm someone, especially someone who's, clearly frazzled like that.
Yeah, I don't know if that really came into it with Glover, because I mean, Glover's too busy thinking about what he's doing, and what he was doing was good enough on the night to just. I mean, at the end of the day, he caught him with some good shots, and in my opinion, I do think the bigger question is should the fight have been stopped earlier? That's a question that's been asked a lot since the night in question. And the referees come out and said that he should have stopped the fight earlier, but I don't think that that's true. I think the corner should have stepped in. The corner should have probably stepped in and saved Anthony Smith from himself, especially after the fourth round. The fourth going into the fifth, Anthony Smith is walking back to his corner with his teeth in his hands, just saying, my teeth are falling out. Do you know what I mean? He didn't really know where he was. At that point, the corner needs to go, okay, look, at the end of the day, like those kind of fights, they can take years off a fighter's career. If they go the wrong way, that can happen. And what they should have done is said, you know what? You're 30. Anthony Smith is what, 31, 32? He's got plenty of time to fucking to go and fight for a world title again. Do you know what I mean? It's not like he's at the end of his career. They should have really maybe, in my mind, I think they should maybe considered that and said, look, Anthony, as much as you don't want us to do this, because Anthony Smith will never ask to be taken out of a fight. And I guarantee Anthony Smith doesn't think the fight should have been stopped. Anthony Smith is fine with it. He's fine with how it went because he's a fucking animal. So he's a warrior. He is.
He's one of the toughest.
I use animal. I'm saying animal
heavyweights.
Complimentary. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. He's just as tough as they come, and he's a brilliant fighter, and he would have never been asked to been taken out of that fight. But at a certain point, I think the corner has to say, look, Anthony, in order for you to make more money in the future, we're going to pull you out of this fight now because you've already made your money here. You're not winning this fight. Do you know what I mean? Because he wasn't. After that fourth round, he wasn't winning that fight.
Yeah, I'd argue even after the third round, it was looking to be a shutout.
Yeah,
and I think at one point you have the short-term pain of accepting the loss and getting taken out by your corner for the long-term gain of going in there, tweaking some things, getting on a streak, and then challenging for the title again. And especially since, and I wanted to end that fight discussion with news that John Jones has said that he's proven everything he has to prove at light heavyweight and is moving up to heavyweight. Do you think that will finally happen?
Maybe. I think that he's picking a fight with Ngannou because he knows he'll beat Ngannou, and I think he'll beat Ngannou. Because if we switch the topics just for a second to Francis Ngannou versus Rosenstruik, on the face of it, it's a round one knockout, right? Within like 60 seconds, whatever. I wasn't impressed. I don't know about anybody else, but I wasn't impressed because look at how he knocked him out. He went in, he missed the first 4 punches, was off balance. If he didn't connect with the 5th, then he may have well been in trouble, but he did connect with the 5th. And fair enough, right? Ngannou, he's got the power to knock anybody out if he clips you. But put him against anybody who's elite, and he fights the way he does against Rosenstruik, he's either getting knocked out or he's getting thrown on his back and choked out. That's happening. If he fights DC is putting him on his back and choking him out. That's happening.
Yeah, if he can do it to Rumble, who's a lot more of an accomplished wrestler, and I think a better technical striker, then he can do it to Ngannou.
I don't think Ngannou's Ngannou keeps on going on about how he learned from the Stipe loss and he's gotten better as a fighter. I don't see it.
I just see him having. After that, we'll obviously go into it later, but I don't see it either, and we can discuss that in greater detail. But if he moves up, because obviously the heavyweight, that cancels out any talk of a super fight between him and Israel Adesanya. Would you personally rather see him at heavyweight or stick around for a bit longer and maybe have a fight?
Nah, I want to see him at heavyweight. I don't give a fuck about him and Adesanya. Him and Adesanya is a pipe dream. It's I don't think it'd even be that good of a fight, if I'm totally honest.
Yeah.
I don't even know who'd win. But at the end of the day, Adesanya is a middleweight for a reason. Jones walks around at about 230. I don't think it'd be a contest. I think John Jones would beat him.
I think he'll probably wear him down and smother him the same he does with most people.
I think it'd be a boring fight as well. I think it'd be boring. I think it'd be like a lot of point fighting, a lot of jabs in and out. I don't think a lot would happen. I think Jones would win on points.
Yeah, nothing would really get into it. But that was UFC Fight Night Smith vs. Teixeira. I think a very respectable card.
Very good. It was a very good card. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. If you had to give it a rating out of 5, what would you say?
Out of 5, I would give it probably a 4, actually. I had some really good fights on the undercard. Some, yeah. I'll give it a 4. 4 out of 5. I'm a positive guy.
You're not a too critical human, but you're not an armchair critic.
No,
you're not a hater.
No, I ain't a hater. I love the UFC, man. It's my bag.
Especially for operating now, where the people are dying for entertainment.
Yeah.
But we have UFC on ESPN 8, but I just call it another fight night because whatever. UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Harris.
It was UFC Fight Night 176. That's what it was officially known as.
Oh, good. It's just on Wikipedia. It says, not to give away the vigorous research process I do, but
no, it's 176 because I believe Walt Harris and Overeem were supposed to fight originally on 172.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it does say it got rescheduled.
This is all from I literally I don't have a computer in front of me, man. This is fucking my bullshit fucking MMA memory.
This is your Rain Man thing coming out about the UFC. A few fighters I've heard of a fair few of them, but a few fighters I haven't on this card. A lot of the reason I can't look into them is because I don't have Wikipedia profiles yet. But Rodrigo Nascimento defeated Dontail Myers with a rear naked choke at heavyweight.
I may have missed that one.
Yeah, well done. May I extend from the Fightcast? Well done, Rodrigo. Hope you're well. Courtney
I may have missed that one.
Yeah, Courtney Casey defeated Mara Romero Berelta with an armbar. I do love an armbar.
I do as well, but I don't remember seeing one. So next.
Nate, I love this refreshing honesty. Just like day one, Nate Landwehr defeated Darren Elkins by unanimous decision.
Yes, Nate Landwehr It was a weird fight. I'll be honest. I thought I had Darren Elkins in that one because I thought Darren Elkins is a beast, man. He really is. He's beaten some good guys. He always at the game. But this other guy, I'd never even heard of him before. But he comes out, he's all fucking cocky and dancing around everywhere, showboating. And you know what? He looked fantastic. But I mean, that's not saying Darren Elkins was in it till the end. But I mean, it was a fun fight. It was fun because of Ledka and Darren Elkins, obviously. But it was fun because of that whole attitude. And, yeah, I enjoyed him, actually. I'm looking forward to seeing him fight again. He's burst onto my radar.
Against a game opponent, a respectable notch in his belt. Nate Landwehr, someone to watch out for. Ricardo Lamas, he's on a 4-fight losing streak after beating Bermudez and Dennis Bermudez and Michael Johnson. He lost unanimously to Volkanovski. no, fair loss. Respectable fighter to lose to elite level, obviously. Ricardo Lamas, he then lost to, who is again great opponent. No shade on that loss.
Ricardo Lamas he's one of the best in the division. He has been for a while.
Yeah, and Ryan Hall afterwards, who I admit I have never heard of. Have you heard of Ryan Hall?
Ryan Hall, isn't he the guy that submitted BJ Penn? I might be wrong.
Let me just check his record. Yes, he heel hooked BJ Penn. He is 8-1.
Let me off. Come on now. Let me off. That's a pretty good memory there.
That is a very good memory. I respect.
I was just like, I'm pretty sure Ryan Hall. Yeah, he heel hooked BJ Penn. Yeah.
That is uncanny, man. But yeah, he lost his first. I'm
8 beers in right now as well. Like I just want to point that out.
I'm 2 pints in myself of Strongbow. 3 pints. But yeah, he's beat in his last 4 fights. He's beat Artem, MMA god Artem Lobov, Gray Maynard, BJ Penn, and Dan Elkin.
He's the goat.
Artem also branched out to bare knuckle fight Paulie Malignaggi to unanimous decision loss.
I had money on that. I was fucking happy as fuck because I shouldn't swear. So I know that swearing's fine, but I shouldn't swear so much. But either way, Paulie Malignaggi, I knew he was going to get beaten that because boxing and bare knuckle boxing are 2 very different things.
Yeah.
I think he thought it was going to be the same thing, and so did all the bookies, incidentally, because Artem Lobov was a heavy underdog.
Yeah.
But it went exactly how I thought it would. Look, he thought he could defend things using his hands where he used to use gloves, and he got messed up.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, but at least he has the nuts to do it against a former boxing world champion. So fair play to him. Fair play.
Yeah. Well, and he won. So yeah.
Yeah, and yes, and now he's obviously lost to Nate Landwehr, and Nate Landwehr, someone to keep our eyes on. Kevin Holland defeated Anthony Hernandez by knees and punches. I'll have a good knee too.
Yeah, I did watch that one. I think I had Holland in that. I can't remember. It's one of those that I was just,
mildly paying. It's a pee break match.
It was one of those where it's like, I didn't really know either of them. Definitely, I'll keep Holland won that. Did you say? Sorry. So.
Yeah, by knees and punches in the first round, 39.
Yeah. I think. Hang on a second. Holland is. Yeah, I think he's someone that I might keep my eye on actually. If it's the guy I'm thinking of. Sorry, I was kind of going off on a tangent there. Yeah. He looked good.
That's good. And a result I wasn't expecting, to be honest. Miguel Baez defeated Matt Brown, who's one of the highest knockout ratios in UFC history.
Why did you not think that was going to happen?
Because I'd heard of Matt Brown, and I thought, and Miguel doesn't have a Wikipedia profile. That is my level of logic.
No, so Matt Brown was always losing that fight, always. I love Matt Brown. I love Matt Brown, but he was always walking into that and probably getting stopped at some point in the second or third. Like he wasn't going to keep up with that kid, because it's one thing to come back and beat Diego Sanchez with an elbow. Diego Sanchez has been fighting since 1983. Yeah. So, beating Diego Sanchez, the guy who's been beaten by everybody, is one thing, but coming back and then beating like a young up and comer, it's a very different thing. I mean, would I have liked to see Matt Brown get a knockout? Yeah, I'd have loved that. I'd have loved it because I really like Matt Brown. He's just an unbelievable fighter. Like his fight against Robbie Lawler was fucking brilliant. Like he's had so many brilliant matchups over the years. I think he beat Eric Silva after getting kicked in the liver rather. Like he got folded over, and then came back and actually won by TKO. just that goes to show the level of you might want to fact check that, Aaron. I'm going from my fucking memory here, but either way, whether that was true or not, or whether I'm making it up in my memory, Matt Brown's an incredible fighter, and I do hope to see him in there again, but maybe not against an up and coming killer, maybe against somebody more his own age, or maybe it could be time to hang up. You never know.
Yeah, maybe one or two more fights and kind of go out on a win, sort of respectable.
Thing is, though, when he was coming in to fight fucking Diego Sanchez in the interview process, I love this honesty, right? Because you know what happened? They actually asked, so why did you want to fight Diego Sanchez in your last fight? And he just said, because I want to go out on a win.
You respect that, don't you?
That's true, right? It's like, fuck me, man. He should have just stayed retired.
Yeah, no one wants to go out like Bisping getting blasted out by Gastelum in China, you know?
Oh, come on, man. Don't start fucking piling on Bisping. Bisping took that fight on fucking after
he saved that event. It's not I meant no disrespect. I mean that it wasn't the kind of send off that he deserved. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't. He 100% deserved better. But Bisping, he's one of my favourite fighters. I love that dude.
Likewise.
I went to see him in Manchester when he beat when he beat Dan Henderson. And he did beat Dan Henderson that night. Anyone that says differently is out of their mind. He won very clearly.
Beat Dan Henderson.
Very clearly. Under the rules of the Octagon, the judging of the time, Bisping was the clear winner. But I don't think I've ever been more glad to see somebody win a belt in their life than between him and Robbie Lawler. It must be, because Robbie Lawler was another one. When I watched him get his hand raised against Johnny Hendricks, it was unbelievable. And the same with Bisping against Rockhold. I couldn't believe. Well, I could believe it, but I was just so happy to see him get that belt because he deserved it.
He really deserved it.
He fucking deserved it.
Especially with how...
I'm sorry, I forget what I've been... What were we originally talking about? I went off on a massive tangent.
We went,
you should do better at controlling your
from Miguel Baza, who's one to watch, to Michael Bisping. But to finish off on Michael Bisping, he won me... because I thought that Rockhold in the second that fight we won the title was so dismissive of him. I just thought he's gonna not respect him, and Bisping's gonna knock him out, and because of that, I won £400. So thank you, Michael.
I was similar. I won 360. I had a tenner at 36-1 on Bisping by knockout in the first.
Yeah, I would have got better odds if I'd have went with the first. I just went with Bisping knockout.
Oh, it's fun.
40 quid.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a decent thing, and 20 quid of that was in free bets, so I was laughing.
I met Bisping a couple of months later, actually, at UFC 2, because that was UFC 199, and I obviously went to UFC 200.
Yeah.
We were all in the crowd at UFC Fight Night 90. And we were at the bit where the fighters all come down. And we were wearing our Union Jack suits, and Bisping came past, and he shook all our hands, but didn't quite shake my hand because I was too far away. But I gave him a knowing nod, and a kind of almost an air fist bump, and he was a lovely bloke, lovely.
He's a good man.
He was signing autographs on the other side, and the guy who's giving the autograph to say, "Mike, look behind you," and he turned around and saw these four idiots in Union Jacks tuxedos, and he was like, "Hey, you look like dicks!" And it's just it's so funny.
I love him. I love him. I love how he knows when to work heel. Like I loved when he spat on Jorge Rivera's corner, man. I loved when he turned up drunk to the GSP presser and just knocked him out with my midget. One of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. You're just calling him this Canadian midget, you know?
Yeah. He had to do it, though. He had to do it.
He knows when to work babyface in Britain or whenever, and he knows when to be a tosser, and it's excellent.
His podcast is brilliant. If you've listened to his podcast, the Believe You Me podcast with Luis J. Gomez, it's probably my favourite podcast, if I'm honest.
Like, there'll be a link to that in the description.
Yeah, I listen to every episode. Like I love it. I think Luis J. Gomez is hilarious. Michael Bisping is brilliant. It's even Harrington and Brian are great. You know, it's a fun listen.
Definitely can endorse that. All right, moving on to the main card for this, Song Yadong, which name I laughed at for a while because of the dong. Beat Marlon Vera by unanimous decision. Do you recall?
Robbery. Marlon Chito Vera got robbed, man. Anytime you see fucking the other guy, the guy who gets his hand raised, if he looks surprised, it is a fucking crooked ass robbery, and that was a robbery. Marlon Chito Vera, he won rounds 2 and 3 very, very clearly in my mind, and I think even in fucking Song Yadong's mind, because he looked shocked when they called out his name. Robbery. I felt really bad for Marlon Vera, really bad. So they just took away half his paycheck there.
That's disappointing. It's always disappointing when the judges get that wrong. I think the judging is on a general upward trajectory, but there's still a lot of questionable decisions.
That one was bad. It was bad. I don't even understand how they got that one wrong, but either way, hopefully,
not quite up there with Bas Rutten versus Kevin Randleman, but
yes, going back a while.
Yeah, because I only just heard about that and I watched the fight and I just thought, I was apoplectic with just what the fuck, you know. I just didn't understand that one, but I think that's quite a famous.
Who do you think won?
Out of these two?
No, out of Randleman and Bas Rutten. I'm interested to know.
I think Randleman, because Randleman busted his nose up, and I thought most of the fight would end up with Randleman having Bas on his back. It just seemed that Randleman won quite clearly that one for me. Yeah,
but still, Bas Rutten's one of the greatest of the time. We can't disparage. And Randleman's going to the Hall of Fame. So.
Exactly. He deserves to. Plus, it's not Bas's fault. The judges see what they see and score what they score. You know, he's not gonna say no, is he?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen that fight in a while. I'd have to watch it again if I'm totally honest. I mean, it is. You've got to look at the whole thing. But either way, yeah. So at the end of the day, they always say don't leave it in the hands of the judges, but I don't agree with that sentiment entirely because it's not like Marlon Vera wasn't trying to finish him.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, he was trying to finish him, just couldn't quite finish him. But you need to rely on the judges.
Just hang in there, you know.
Yeah, you need to be able to rely on the judges to get it right, and they didn't. They really didn't. But that's my 2 cents.
It's just one of those things. I'm going to murder one of these names, but I think it's Krzysztof Jotko defeated Eric Anders by unanimous decision.
Jotko, yeah. Jotko. Krzysztof Jotko. I'll be totally honest. I'm not a huge fan. I just think that most of the time he skates by on a split decision. I think that he always fights very safe. I thought Eric Anders might well. He's quite a powerful guy. He came off the Contender Series, I believe. He's a decent enough fighter. I think he'll be back again. I mean, Eric Anders came off a couple of good wins, and then he got battered by Khalil Roundtree. But Khalil Roundtree looked sensational that night because he'd just come back from Thailand, I believe. So he had more of a Thai boxing kind of style, and he just looked really, really good. And he's been trying to bounce back from that ever since. I don't think that was necessarily a bad loss or a good win, like for either party, because Jotko, I don't think he looked any different for any time I've ever seen him. I don't think he's ever looked particularly spectacular.
Yeah, He just knows how to eke out these decision wins.
Yeah, well, and actually, not always, because he loses a lot of split decisions as well. And yeah, I just think that until he shows me otherwise,
yeah,
I'm not gonna, jump out my seat for one of his fights.
Yeah.
Eric Anders, I've seen him do some shit. Eric Anders is someone that I'll always pay attention to. I like him.
Yeah, he's got a good style.
Great haircut.
Yeah, Jotko has lost. He lost to a guy called Magnus Siebenblad by guillotine choke, then split decision to David Branch, and then he's been and then his other 2 losses knockouts to Uriah.
I mean, come on, man. If you're losing to David Branch, like
you found your level.
Yeah, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, and he got knocked out by Uriah Hall, who I love. And then he got knocked out by Brad Tavares.
I like Uriah Hall, but Uriah Hall's very, very hot and cold, isn't he?
Yeah, he either does
he's
something
either
amazing,
hot,
gets battered.
Or he's cold. Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Yeah, David Branch has went on to lose after he beat Jotko. He went on to lose 4 of his last 5. Submitted to punches by Rothwell, then knocked out Thiago Santos. And now has lost to Cannonier, Hermansson, and Shlemenko. So, yeah, he's not here with the UFC anymore. So,
yeah, those 3 guys are pretty good, but yeah, he wasn't quite there.
Yeah, there is 2 of Eric Anders' losses have been close split decisions. One to one of the best to ever do it, Lyoto Machida, and one to Elias Teodoro, a middleweight. So.
Elias Theodoro, I remember him. He's the Disney Prince looking motherfucker.
Yeah,
he looks like he's pretty good actually. So
yeah, he himself has got a 17-3 record, so very impressive. He's only lost to killers.
He looks like a Disney Prince. So
exactly, and he's only and Tavares, the only other 2 he's lost to have been absolute killers like Thiago Santos and Derek Brunson. So. You can't really dispute that, and he's never been finished, so hell of a fighter. But yeah, next one we got on to is Dan Ige, I believe, versus Edson.
Ige.
Ige versus Edson Barboza, which ended with
Ige.
Dan Ige versus Edson Barboza. Well, I'd never actually heard of Dan Ige, which probably is why I'm so awful at pronouncing.
I've seen him for a while. I thought that he won that. I thought that was one of the less controversial decisions of the night, and yet Edson Barboza is still fucking disputing it, isn't he? He's moving to overturn it. I don't think you can overturn that. I think Ige beat the fuck out of him in more often than not. So. It was close. It was a close fight. It was, but I thought Ige got the better of him in 2 out of 3 rounds. So I don't think there was. I had no problem with that decision.
Yeah, I think when it's split, some fighters will take other means to try and sort that, especially since if they feel they can.
Come on, what's he gonna achieve other than making him look like a bitch? Jesus Christ! Just take the fucking loss, man. Take the loss. Move on. Take the loss, move on, come back, look better, knock someone out. Do you know what I mean? Do something. I'm not a fighter. I don't pretend to be. At the end of the day, like, what the fuck do I know? But all I know is what it makes it look like to me. It's like if you start fucking crying and bitching and fucking trying to overturn decisions, that makes you look like a bitch. It does.
Yeah, he's one of the. He's an impeccable fighter.
Edson Barboza is a killer, man. Yeah. Edson Barboza is one of the best to ever do it. No doubt. He is one of the best to ever do it. And I have so much respect for that dude. Except from when he starts fucking trying to overturn decisions that he feels that he won. Fuck that. Don't do that shit, man. You taint yourself. Just take it. Just say, look, the better man won on the night. Fair play. I'll come back and I'll do it again and I'll knock the dude out. Fuck it.
And also that was his 9th loss, so it's not like it's a real new sensation in that way, is it?
I mean, he's been fighting for a long time. To get 9 losses over his fighting career was no
Yeah, and he's only lost to people like Kevin Lee and Gagey and Ige and Khabib. So
exactly,
it's not like it's not like he's lost to. It's not like he's disgraced himself. Next one, Claudia Gadelia versus Angela Hill.
Robbery.
Split decision. Robbery. I've heard a lot of controversy about that.
Hill won that. Hill won that, man. Shoot. It was close-ish, I guess. Okay, right. Robbery is probably not the right term. I shouldn't have said robbery. But I don't think the right person won. I think that Hill did more and she should have got the win, but she didn't. So, whatever. You've got to move on, haven't you?
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's a close fight, losing to a respected fighter like Gadelia. So, that's just one of those things. I think you'll have a lot to say about the main event, though, and a lot of the things surrounding it. Alistair Overeem finishing Walt Harris in the second round. Walt Harris has obviously been in the news a lot, considering the first disappearance of his stepdaughter and then tragically finding her, what was identified to be her remains, and the people responsible for that remain on trial. Or not on trial, but due to face trial. But we'll get into the bit surrounding it, obviously. But what did you make of the fight?
Fight was good. The fight was fun. It was a good heavyweight fight. It played out more or less how I thought it would play out. I didn't necessarily think Overeem would get dropped the way he did, but I did think that Overeem would weather a storm. I thought Harris would come out fast and throwing heavy hands, which he did. I thought that Overeem would use his experience to kind of wear the big guy down and probably knock him out in the third or fourth. But he got him in the second, and that's so there weren't really that many surprises for me in the fight. Overeem, he got knocked down, but he was never really out. He was working for heel hooks. He was working for all kinds of things off his back. He was still very much in the fight, and then Walt Harris kind of he expended all of his energy trying to finish him, and Overeem took advantage of that. That's they landed that head kick and then just got on mount position, and there was no way Harris was getting up from that position. It just wasn't happening.
No,
you know what I mean? And Overeem, you could tell he didn't really want to hurt the guy. He was trying to hit him in ways that weren't really hurting him, but he kept on looking at the ref like, come on, ref, look, come on. I've got this guy beat. Come on now.
Like, you might have to sneak in a nasty one to reinforce your point.
Otherwise, yeah, he's going to have to sneak in a nasty one, like you said, and really hurt this dude who's. And I thought Overeem was in a bit of an unfair position, if I'm totally honest, because they made the whole fight about Walt Harris fighting for Anaya. Now, don't get me wrong, right? What happened was fucking tragic. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's awful thing to happen, right? But Overeem didn't do anything wrong, right? So why has he got to have the whole world rooting against him? I understand that. Yeah. Everyone was rooting for Walt Harris, which meant by proxy they're rooting against Alistair Overeem, and I didn't think that was really fair. Even after he won, he couldn't really celebrate. Do you know what I mean? It's his 40th birthday, and he's just won, and he couldn't really celebrate because they'd made the whole fight about the tragedy that Walt Harris had been through. And don't get me wrong, right? That's a fucking horrible thing that he went through, but they're all saying that like he's a hero for coming back and coming back to this. Like after this tragedy, and I say, is it? Because the murder rate in America is pretty fucking high. So I guess that Walt Harris isn't the only father that's lost his daughter in the last year, right? But there are a lot of guys that are going to have to gone back to work to jobs that they fucking hate, where they won't get any fanfare, fucking media, they won't get to do what they fucking love. So is it heroic to go back to work in those circumstances? That's all I would say. I'm saying that something bad happened to him, and it's horrible. It's awful. But does it make him a hero to go back to the glamour of the UFC? I'm not sure if it does. I'm not sure if it automatically makes you a hero.
not necessarily a hero, but I think the story is he's resilient but in the same way any other parent who's been affected by the loss of a child.
Of course he's resilient. But I do think that I don't want to sound like a complete asshole, but I'm gonna. I just feel like that what happened was awful, really awful, and people go through that kind of shit. But to make the whole fight about that, I thought was short-sighted, because I said before the fight. The only problem with making it that it's is Walt Harris fighting for Anaya is what if he loses? What then? What if he loses? What, do you not love her enough?
Yeah, that does have quite horrible implications, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, it does. And obviously, that's not the case. Like, Walt Harris loved his stepdaughter. He did. Like, and all of that. Because he's, from what I've seen, he's a fucking good guy. But I don't know him, But bottom line is, that's not what fighting's about. Everyone's fighting for something. Yeah. Overeem is fighting for his family. No one made a big deal about that, did they? He's fighting to put food on his family's table. Like, so, yeah, I thought I didn't like that. Right, it's fine. Acknowledge it, right? Our hearts go out to Walt Harris. He went through a real tragedy, but he's back fighting tonight. Up for it. Lovely, great stuff. Let's go. That should have been more or less it. But to do the whole documentary, like the whole lead up, just making the whole thing about fighting for Anaya, I thought it was a little bit short-sighted, and I thought it put Overeem in an awkward position, and I don't think it really helped an awful lot. I mean, unless there was like some sort of charity they were kind of giving towards or whatever. And again, like I said, I do want to clarify that my heart goes out to Walt Harris. So I think he's a tremendous athlete. He's going to come back stronger than ever. He is. But to make the whole fight about that issue, I didn't necessarily agree with.
Yeah. And obviously it's remarkably more serious context, but I can draw some parallels from a kind of a crude business standpoint. Is the UFC of Ronda Rousey's return when she fought Amanda Nunes for the title after obviously her head kick loss to Holly Holm.
Yeah.
And all of the promo in the UFC countdown was Ronda's triumphant return, and she's so brave and all of that for facing her demons and the press and the critics to come back in with this this absolute monster in Amanda Nunes, still with the same fucking inept coach Edmund, but is very kind of so because of the similar kind of intensity of that promo. What UFC is saying is Ronda Rousey feeling slightly sad that people are memeing her head kick knockout on Twitter with the disappearance and the death of a child is bizarre.
Yeah, it's like I say, I don't want to say it. They were just trying to make money out because I think they were more trying to raise awareness, and yeah. Look, but for me, it's just a personal thing. I don't think that the fight game is any place to be airing those personal things out in, because it's like I said, everybody's fighting for something. Do you know what I mean? No one's fighting for nothing.
Yeah, like a lot of fighters have, families to support. A lot of families have disabled kids, have just lost fathers, sons, daughters, wives, all that kind of stuff can happen.
And it's like, that shouldn't make you want a fighter to win or lose less or more. It's like, that fighter has a disabled kid, so they should win. No, that's not how the fight game works, man. So it should be about who's the best fighter on the night.
Yeah,
and that's
it's cruel and Darwinistic in that sense, isn't it? But it's fair, legitimate combat.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
Yeah. So, out of 5, what would you give the Reem versus Harris fight night?
The fight night, I think I would give that maybe a 3, because there were a lot of decisions that I maybe didn't agree with as well. And the main event was definitely very good. But up until there were a couple of not brilliant fights on there. But, yeah.
So not as good. It didn't sound as appealing to me as the previous fight night. But
no, it wasn't as good as Teixeira Smith. No, not for me. Not for me.
Now we're on to the big kahuna. That is UFC 249, the one I watched.
Before we get into this one, can I go for a piss and grab another beer? Is that something that I can do?
Of course you can, mate.
Excellent.
I will lead on without you.
Right, I'll be back in 2 seconds.
No worries, mate. We will review your piss afterwards in full. We've got a sneak preview of the next UFC fight night, which is meant to be on the 30th of this month. Venue and city had to be determined. We have 4 announced bouts for that. We have a light heavyweight bout with Klidson Abreu versus Jamahal Hill. We have women's strawweight bout with Mackenzie Dern versus Hannah Siffers. Mackenzie Dern has grown quite popular for being quite attractive and having what Joey Diaz has speculated on, that he believes her asshole tastes delicious. I use asshole because he's American, and arsehole does sound better but grosser. But yes, Joey Diaz has speculated on the flavour and taste of her anus. Hannah Siffers has a 10-4 record. Most recently been knocked out by Angela Hill, who's a very respected fighter. We have Mackenzie Dern, who has a 7-1 record, coming off her first loss to Amanda Ribas. Was 7-0 before that, and I believe this is a fight meant to get Mackenzie back to winning ways, because the same way they are with Michelle Waterson and Paige Van Zandt, they do like to have high-profile fit women in the organisation. Alex has returned from his piss. We were just wrapping up some of the announced fights for the next fight night. I was just talking about Joey Diaz. Yes. Joey Diaz alleging Mackenzie Dern has a delicious arsehole, which...
I remember that. That was like a year ago, wasn't it?
I love Joey Diaz for that reason. We have quite an exciting heavyweight bout on that card. Augusto Sakai, a surging heavyweight contender, on 14-1-1. His only loss to Czech Congo, which was a very controversial split decision where Czech kept gouging and hitting him in the bollocks, as is his want.
Hey, come on now. Look, that's all fair. At the end of the day, look, I always say this about eye gouges, right? Everybody gets one per round, so use them.
That's very wise. But he does have his last few fights have been against decent contenders. He's knocked out He's TKO'd Chase Sherman, split decision over Andre, and knocked out Marcin Tybura. So Augusto Sakai and Blagoy Ivanov, who is a beast in his own right.
Ivanov, yeah. No, he's the Bulgarian guy, isn't he?
Yes, 18-3. He's only lost 3 times.
Came from Strikeforce, didn't he? Didn't he get shot a bunch of times? He's the guy with a bunch of bullet wounds, right?
Yeah, he was in Bellator, then World Series of Fighting, where he was their champion. Yeah. He defended.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
4 times. He won the Professional Fight League title. His only losses are to Volkov by choke, unanimous against Junior Dos Santos, one of the best to ever do it, and a split decision against the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, one of my personal favourite fighters.
Love that dude.
Yes,
his Instagram's hilarious.
Oh, he's one of the best Instagrams going. Yeah, if you're a fight fan, or if you're just a fan of comedy, follow Derek Lewis.
The amount of videos I see of people getting hurt is like, he's okay.
I love him. So the bar fight incident, in the early morning of February 28th, a group of 8 men entered the bar Ice in Sofia and attacked Ivanov and his 2 friends. He was stabbed below the sternum and the lung. He fought off the attackers and hailed a cab to the hospital.
That's right.
He was in the intensive care unit after 6 hours of life-saving intervention. The condition stabilised with the air of an artificial respirator. Police apprehended a 23-year-old suspect nicknamed Dampella, or the Dumbbell, with a long the dumbbell. I love that. With a long criminal record and charged him for stabbing. Bulgaria's Interior Minister Svetan Svetanov used the speed of the arrest as an argument for success in the country's battle against organised crime in a speech 2 days after the attack. March 2012, he was reported in stable condition, having regained consciousness. While his life was still considered in danger, he was switched to a milder treatment. Dampela claimed that Ivanov initiated the fight, at one point slapping Dampela in the face. Obviously, when someone slaps you, you and 8 of your mates proceed to stab them. That seems totally proportionate.
Yeah.
Dampela had a criminal record of extortion, drug dealing, and fraudulent car registration. I love that. Extortion, drug dealing, fraudulent car registration.
Love that.
That's amazing. You thought there'd be like a proper payoff at the end, but no. Fraudulent car. The DVL in Bulgaria are notoriously vicious. The defense claimed that Dampela did not know he stabbed him. He was unaware that he stabbed him and went to the police immediately after finding he did. The prosecution claimed that he bragged about the incident and picked the fight with Ivanov in drunken rage. His condition deteriorated. A surgery was performed. He was placed in an artificial coma. He was taken out of the coma, spoken to doctors, 6-month recovery, left the hospital on May 28th, and then returned to a year and 8 months afterwards in September 2013. He returned to MMA and won his next 4 fights. Absolute beast. That'll be two. I'm not even going to make a prediction. Both of their records are amazing. Both amazing fighters. Just the real winner is any MMA fan. This is a hell of a fight.
Yeah, it should be good fun. I mean, Ivanov, like, as tough as he is, like, he's not always. I think what we're going to see here is 2 guys gas midway through round 2, and whoever's got the most gas left is gonna still be standing. That's what I think is going to happen.
So I think we'll get lucky if we just get an early knockout. Because I don't know. I know a lot about. I've watched a few of Ivanov's fights, but I don't know much about Sakai other than having a pretty decent record.
Yeah, he's all right. He's okay.
But I do love the heavyweight division, but it is not unless you're or cardio Cain. It is not designed for 5-round fights.
No, it isn't. It's I think we're going to see 2 sweaty individuals come round 2.
And we've got the announced headline of that is former welterweight champ, one of the best to ever do it, Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns, who I don't know much about. So while I go for a piss and get my next pint, do you mind giving like a brief backstory of both, but especially Gilbert Burns, and could you just give your thoughts on that fight?
Yeah, I can do. Like I said, well, I'll start with Tyron Woodley. We all know who Tyron Woodley is. Tyron Woodley is former welterweight champion, beat Robbie Lawler. But I mean, Tyron Woodley, he's had his ups and downs, and he started off in kind of Bellator. I think he was in Strikeforce as well, actually. But he really came into his own when he held the welterweight title. Now, a lot of people give him a bit of flack because they say boring or whatever because those fights with Wonderboy Thompson. But to be honest, those fights they weren't that boring when you watched them. Do you know? When you actually watched them, it was they weren't that bad. Because you didn't know you didn't know what the result was going to be. And yeah, he's one of those fighters that I feel like he gets quite a lot of flack from the fans, from the media, but he's actually extremely good. I mean, he was able to beat Damian Maia when he busted his shoulder up pretty bad, and beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson twice. Obviously took the title off Lawler. He got outclassed by Usman. Usman was just far better on the night, but I mean Woodley didn't necessarily look like himself. So I mean I'd be interested to see a rematch down the line. Now Gilbert Burns, he's on a hell of a tear. He's He's a Brazilian, I think. Yeah, he's Brazilian.
Yes,
Pretty
Rio
sure
de Janeiro.
Yeah, so anyway, he's the wins I can remember. I'm pretty sure he beat Gunnar Nelson. I'm fairly certain he TKO'd Damian Maia because that wasn't
he did. Those were his
too
last
long
two
ago.
ones. Last two wins.
I think Dan Hooker beat him coming up, which is no shame in that.
No,
I'm pretty sure
he got knocked out by Dan Hooker in 2018, but Dan Hooker's a hell of a fighter.
Yeah, he really is. He really is. Unless he's fighting Edson Barboza.
That's the only time he's been. That's the only time he's been finished. Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember his other wins, but I know that Gilbert Burns he must be on about a 4-fight win streak, something like that. I think
5 fights. 5 fights. Last against Maia.
5. Okay, yeah.
Definitely put himself in a great position there.
Yeah, I mean, if he can beat Tyron Woodley, he's definitely going to insert himself into the title picture. But you got to remember that at the moment the title has been backed up, hasn't it? I mean, Usman is going to be fighting Jorge Masvidal. That is set. That's happening.
Oh, thank God! Thank God.
Yeah, it's going to happen. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I mean, Usman's going to back.
I think that'll be a good tear up, but I think, especially with his wrestling.
I don't think it's even going to be a tear up. I think it's just going to fucking squash him. But we'll see. We'll see. And I really like Jorge Masvidal. I won't make that clear. Jorge Masvidal is one of my favourite fighters. I think he's fantastic. But I don't know if he's going to... Look, knocking out Ben Askren like he did, and then having a fight with Nate Diaz, who's largely going to stand with you anyway, is very different to fighting the Nigerian nightmare Kamaru Usman,
Usman is something else.
Usman's probably going to put him on his back and just and that's where it's probably more than likely going to stay. But you don't know, do you? You don't. I mean, Ben Askren was a hell of a wrestler as well, but I would dare say that Usman's striking is better than Askren. So we'll see. Yeah, my heart goes with Masvidal. My head goes with Usman.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have a lot of respect for Usman. I've been high on him ever since he beat Emil Meek. Been a big fan of him since then. And what he did to Covington and what he's done to Tyron Woodley. He's a special fighter.
When he beat Emil Meek. Emil Meek's not managed to find himself, really. He always seems to get on the wrong end of decisions.
Yeah, I'm very surprised with how his career's turned out, I must admit.
Yeah,
I was basically treating this headline fight as a title eliminator, as in whoever wins this gets the winner of Usman Masvidal.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's more than likely going to happen. Yeah.
But yeah, that I will be looking forward to, and I'm sure we'll be discussing in future when we do the next one of these. Which, considering neither of us have fuck all to do, will happen imminently.
Excellent.
And now, shall we get to the big kahuna, my friend?
Mm-hmm.
UFC 249, and oh my God, I cannot name a fight below 7 out of 10 here for me. Really, most of it, all of it was fun. For different reasons. Great. And I sometimes, I must admit, because of my time schedule, I only get to watch the main card, but I made an effort to watch all of it just because of how some of the fights on here on the fucking prelim could headline a fight night.
Wasn't Alexi Olynyk versus Werdum on the prelim, bro? Fresh memory. Was that the prelim?
Yes, that was one of the prelims.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
As was
good fight.
As was bloody Cowboy versus Pettis, but we'll get to
that later. Yeah, of course, yeah. Another bad decision.
The first fight is Spann versus Smiling Sam Alvey.
Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey. Yes, love this fight because I love Smiling Sam Alvey. I'm a big fan of his, and you know what? Like, he fights his heart out every time. He does. Like, he's one of those guys you can never count him out of a fight, and he's fun to watch. He's not necessarily the most technically proficient, but he just goes in there and he slugs. Now, Ryan Spann, I saw him on the Tuesday Night Contender Series. He looked pretty good, but for me, I thought that there was a good chance that that Alvey knocked him out, and Alvey was 8-1 to get the knockout. I'll tell you, in that third round, I thought my money was pretty safe, but obviously Sam Alvey rightfully did end up on the wrong end of the decision because Spann did do enough, but not in that third round. He won the first 2 rounds. Third round, Alvey was all over him. I think if there'd been another couple of rounds there, it might have been a different story. Alvey was really, he was hurting Spann. It was a good competitive fight. It was fun. I don't think either fighter lost any stock in that one.
No, I think they both, because there's split decisions in MMA and boxing, which are basically a draw. So Sam Alvey, you know, if anything, his stock's improved. It's like, you know, he can hang with this new up and comer still. He can still have a good fight. He's still at a really good level. I've just always enjoyed watching Smiling Sam Alvey fight.
He's brilliant.
Puts in a shift, doesn't he? But yeah, Ryan Spann gets the win, but Sam Alvey doesn't lose in disgrace at all. But next we have an absolute classic at featherweight: Bryce Mitchell and Charles Rosa.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, I mean, this kid, like Bryce Mitchell. The thing is, right, what made this one special was the fact that Rosa's actually a very accomplished grappler himself. So for Bryce Mitchell to make him look so bang average on the ground was unbelievable. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I really couldn't. And he earned his camo shorts.
Yeah, you certainly did. He's getting those camo shorts he wanted. Dana White confirmed that. And obviously Charles Rosa coming... we're talking about fighters with someone to fight for. He's came back from fucking neck surgery. One of the worst places to get injured, fucking neck surgery, to still fight at the level he does. And then for still being such a good fighter, but then Bryce Mitchell to have shut him out in the decision.
Bryce Mitchell just destroyed him. Like, he almost got him in a twister 3 times in that fight. Like, was it like 0.9 out of 10? I don't know. It was it was a great fight. Bryce Mitchell looked sensational, and I can't wait to see him again.
Good new contender at featherweight, I'd say, for sure. Next we got one we've touched on briefly, but I thought this was a very, very good fight. I've seen people have mixed feelings about the stoppage, but Vicente Luque versus Nico Price had a really competitive fight at welterweight. Really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. Remind me who won this one. I can't remember. I remember watching
Vicente Luque won by
stoppage. Yeah.
Cut to Nico Price's eye and he couldn't see.
That's right. Yeah. I did think. I was trying to remember. I was thinking, how the fuck did that one end? Yeah, no, Nico Price is as tough as they come, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to stop unless the doctor says, nope, you're not okay. And, it was a fun one to watch. That was always going to be a fun one. It was back and forth. It was, when I looked at that fight on the fight card, I looked at it, I was like, well, you know, because you look at Nico Price, you know, when he stopped fucking Randy Brown, like, with hammer fists from the bottom. Who does that? Who does that?
I certainly hadn't heard of that before, you know.
It's crazy. So Nico Price, he's someone that I always enjoy watching, and I'll enjoy watching again. I imagine both of them will be back, and it's a good win for Vicente. Good feather in the cap.
Yeah, and the good sportsmanship, and they obviously a lot of mutual respect from that. From both combatants. I thought that. Certainly Vicente Luque, Nico Price, great fighters. It just gelled really well. This one, I thought, Carla Esparza versus Michelle Waterson. Carla won by decision, but I thought I didn't agree with this. This is one of the ones that I saw where I thought Michelle Waterson won it.
Well, I don't agree with that. I think that Carla Esparza fairly clearly won it because she was controlling the wrestling. She was controlling the position of the octagon. I don't think that that Waterson did enough in the striking to really counter the amount that Carla Esparza was controlling the octagon. Now, it was close. I don't think that if it had gone the other way, I'd have necessarily been surprised. But I was also not surprised to see it go the way of Carla Esparza. I don't think either of them really stood out, if I'm totally honest. I don't think either of them looked particularly good.
I'd say this was definitely the weakest fight on the card.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean...
Not in terms of the profile. I was looking forward to it.
At the end of the day, I think what happened was that the wrestling of Esparza got cancelled out by the striking of Waterson, and Waterson could really quite get off enough because Esparza actually landed quite a few big shots. Actually, like it was weird. It was like Waterson would go in and kind of jab a few times, and then Esparza would throw a big overhand looping right and actually connect with it. It was like, whoa, what the hell? And I don't think either of them would have been particularly upset for a loss, but I do think that the right person won. I think that Esparza did enough because, I mean, I think even Waterson thought that Esparza had done enough because she seemed to accept the decision pretty readily. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like there was any... I'm not saying they should... Joe, if you don't agree with the decision, you should bitch and complain about it. But it's not like she was like, she never looked like she thought she was going to get a hand raised.
Yeah, she looked disappointed, but she didn't look like apoplectic when fighters had clearly been...
But even before they announced it, she didn't look like she was thinking she was going to get a hand raised. To me, anyway. I mean, what do I know? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Sometimes, fighters very, very, because it's obviously an emotional time. They're very, very emotive. So I think if she'd have thought she was robbed, we would have known about it. But
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's very interesting that we saw it was a close fight. I acknowledge, but I think we came to very different conclusions because what I saw, and I think that's pointed out on commentary, is that when Carla initiated offense and went in, she didn't really do anything with it, and then backed off, and then let Michelle control the range. And I thought Michelle was keeping distance well, patting her, and would win quite a boring points decision. But
the problem that Michelle
neither of them really did enough to stand out, I would say.
The main problem I think that Michelle had in that fight was that she didn't take the center of the octagon. She took to the outside, which kind of, and if you've taken the center of the octagon, then the judges will generally give you octagon control. Rightly or wrongly, that's generally what happens.
Because it does seem like even if you're controlling distance and you're bobbing and weaving, you look like you're on the back foot, even if that isn't the truth.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I think neither of them particularly wowed me. I do fancy Michelle Waterson though. That is all I'll say. That probably swayed me, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I do love Michelle Waterson. She's the karate hottie.
Yeah, that's a very succinct name, and I think it shows quite a sense of humour as well.
And also, right, I'd just like to throw out there, but like Esparza, she I'll say, she's pretty nice as well. I would definitely go there, just to let you know, Michelle. Yeah,
that's fair.
So, Carla, sorry.
Very objective reporting.
No, I thought so. No, I think Carla. There's something strangely attractive about Carla Esparza. I do like her. She's nice. It's
yeah. I think it's
to be really fucking objective, we should just start rating all the guys as well. But not today's episode. We haven't got long enough.
We'll release a 50-minute podcast on how you want to lick Luke Rockhold's armpits later in the year.
No, not Luke Rockhold. My personal favourite is fucking hell, I've just forgotten his name. He used to be the lightweight division. It's gone. It's disappeared. Roger Huerta. That's it. Google Roger Huerta right now and tell me he isn't the fucking the best looking guy to ever do it.
How do you spell his surname?
Huerta. 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 Roger Huerta.
Yep, Googling now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that guy's a fox. Yeah, for sure.
Fuck yeah, I'm telling you. The listeners, Google him now. Thank me later. All right, I'm 10.
Yeah, terrible tribal tattoo, very hot man.
Woo! Fuck me, yeah, I'd go there. Yeah.
Yeah. Another one is Alan Joban, obviously. Drew Dober, who we've talked about.
Yeah, great jawline, lovely.
Yeah, I'm looking at Roger Huerta's record, and recently he has not been kind. 24.
Pay no attention to his record. His record doesn't bear. His record is not why I brought Roger Huerta up. Okay, I did not bring him up because of his record. You leave his record alone. Leave his record out of this. He's a handsome man.
Yeah, that's fair enough. 7 losses out of his last 10, but fair play. He is very handsome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
But yes. Moving on, Alexi Olynyk defeated Fabricio Werdum by split decision. I thought this was very clear to Alexi.
No, it was clear. Yeah, no, Alexi Olynyk won, but I was surprised because I thought, right, got to bear in mind who he's fighting here. Fabricio Werdum is, for me, probably the best to ever do it. Right? Because he's the best heavyweight to ever do it, in my mind. And therefore, ipso facto, he would beat anyone in his weight division below. I think that Fabricio Werdum might be the greatest of all time. I legitimately believe that. Because, I mean, look at the greats, right?
You can make a compelling case for it.
Look at the greats.
Definitely
the Fedor. Fabricio submitted him. Fucking Cain Velasquez. Fabricio submitted him. Fabricio Werdum has beaten a who's who. He has beaten everybody. He has. He might well be the best to ever do it. Not that version, though. Not the version that fought Olynyk.
No.
He didn't look good.
I was very embarrassed for him, to be honest. One of the legends, one of the...
Let's not go that far, because Olynyk, he's a really good fighter. Like, if you look at what Olynyk did to Alistair Overeem, in fact, Alistair Overeem had to get really crafty to kind of... Olynyk is tough, and he swings, and you know what? He's gotten some big wins in the heavyweight division, so I don't think it's necessarily an embarrassment for Werdum, but it wasn't Werdum at his best. But, he's coming back after a long layoff. I think we'll see Werdum come back again fairly soon and probably look a lot better than that.
I'd say so. I think Olynyk just fought the fight of his life and did very, very well there.
Yeah. Olynyk looked very similar to the way he has before, if I'm honest. He swings. He's a swinger. He swings and he hits and he does what he can. And fair play to him. He's bloody good.
He did what he deserved that win. I'm just looking at Fabricio's record. Yeah. I'm just looking at Fabricio's record. Fourth fight, knocks out Gabriel Gonzaga. Up for a bit. Submits Alistair Overeem for his 8th win. Submits Alistair Overeem with a Kimura.
Yeah.
2 fights later, arm triangles Alexander Emelianenko. A couple fights later, knocks out Gabriel Gonzaga again. Then knocks out Brandon Vera. Then unanimous over Bigfoot. Then submitted Fedor. Fedor, for fuck's sake. Fedor.
I mean, the thing is, it wasn't just that he submitted Fedor. He was the first person to do it, I believe.
Yeah, he did it before. It was cool.
That was before Fedor was being beaten by everybody. And
this was coming off absolute destruction win streak. Fedor. This is the best.
Yeah. And then when he won the UFC heavyweight title, and when he beat Velasquez for that was unbelievable. Because, well, actually, I say unbelievable because that was in Mexico City, right? It was above sea level, and I put a decent bet on Werdum because I thought, well, he's got this. He's got this. Cain Velasquez is not going to be able to compete with this dude, and I was right. He didn't. He got checked out.
Obviously, Cain Velasquez, one of the best to ever do it. recently unemployed because WWE have sacked him, but he might be turning up in AAR or AEW soon.
Oh, fuck no. He's probably not healthy enough.
He'll make a lot of money in wrestling. He'll show up like for the Saudi Arabia shows and just make millions doing those. But keep going, like unanimous decision over Big Country, armbars Big Nog, beats Travis Brown when Travis Brown was good, beat Mark Hunt, knocked out, TKO'd Mark Hunt, submitted Cain, then lost to Stipe, beat Brown again, lost to Overeem, but he's beat Walt Harris and Marcin Tybura relatively recent, over the last few years.
I mean, Walt Harris has submitted him. I remember that because Walt Harris had to come in at short notice.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, Harris isn't going to have a chance. And I was right. Because Harris got submitted in round 1, did he? Armbar?
Yes, round 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then the fight before this split lost to Olynyk. He was knocked out by Volkov, who's a beast. So there is always that. Yeah,
like I said, at the end of the day, further time catching up with us all.
Yeah.
But I don't think that time is for Fabricio just yet. I think he's going to come back and he's going to look better than ever.
Yeah, I'd say he still has a lot of life left in him. But the prelim main event, which would headline most fight nights, Showtime Pettis versus fucking Cowboy. Oh my god, what a fight!
Sorry, I was just sneezing there. That was a hell of a fight.
Absolutely
if
love
I'm totally honest, I thought that was the best Cowboys looked in quite a while. And I thought he did enough to win. I thought it was close. I did think it was close. And I wasn't... and I don't think it was robbery. I think that... I thought that Cowboy did enough to get the decision, but the judges thought otherwise, which is fine. I think it's a shame for Cowboy because he did need that win. He really did. But I don't think he's going to get canned anytime soon.
There's absolutely no way. He's too much of a draw and he will step in and fight fucking anyone.
Exactly. So I think he's all right. And it was a fun fight. It really was. It was good.
And the thing is, I don't think it would be fair to can him for this because after he beat Iquinta, who did he lose to? Doctor stoppage by El Kakui, and then got knocked out by Justin Gagey, and then lost to Conor McGregor, and then Showtime Pettis in a close decision. I'd say it was a closer fight than I'd say it was a very close fight.
It was close. It was a close fight.
Those are all elite tier fighters. Conor McGregor put on a clinic against him. Justin Gagey has just smashed up El Kakui.
McGregor knew how to fight Cowboy. He knew how to do it. Like Cowboy's always been notoriously a slow starter, and you knew that McGregor going in there wasn't going to let him get out of first gear, and he didn't. And that's what he did. McGregor fought an excellent strategy against Cowboy because he's a smart fighter. He's very clever. He's smarter than people give him credit for. So he does think about it.
Yeah, he knows what to do. I think we've seen him do the same to Alvarez and Aldo, loads of other fighters where he just deconstructs people. He knows exactly what to do and he does it.
Couldn't do it against Khabib though, could he?
No, well, Khabib's just from another realm, isn't he? Khabib's not normal. But yeah, that was a very good fight. I don't think either of them could have really complained if they'd have lost with that one. It was I think both of them landed really effective offense, and it's just a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun, and I was very surprised.
Yeah, but it was always going to be a fun fight, though, wasn't it? Pettis against Cowboy. They're both stand-ups. They're both going to throw at each other. Like I said, I thought that the judges got it wrong, but it wasn't a robbery.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you there, but I love that one. We're now finally at the main card. Former NFL player, Greg Hardy, against Jorgen De Castro. DC stepping in with some good coaching, which Greg obviously took on board, but I don't think anyone can have any complaints about the decision. Jorgen, I think, burst out the gate in the first round, probably took that round for me, but then didn't do anything in the other two, and Greg just overtook him. I think it's a pretty acceptable decision. What were your thoughts on that?
Yep, what you said. I'll be honest.
It's pretty clear cut, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, Greg Hardy, he's looked all right. Does he look like a world beater? Nah. Does he look terrible? Nah. He's looked all right. He's looked all right. I look forward to seeing him again.
He's always done well. I mean, one of his losses was for a kind of a bullshit DQ, which he was winning.
It wasn't a bullshit DQ.
Was it a bullshit DQ?
No, it wasn't. No, he needed the guy in the head when he was on his knees. It was a perfectly legitimate disqualification. It wasn't a bullshit DQ at all. Nothing bullshit about it. If you knee somebody in the head whilst they're on their knees and you're not allowed to knee a downed opponent in the head, you have broken the rules and you lose.
Yeah, that's fair.
Nothing bullshit about it.
I retract that. I was misinformed. But
no worries.
The DQ finish, then a no contest because he used an inhaler between rounds.
Yes.
You can't really have any complaints about that one. Then you lose the unanimous.
But again, they are told beforehand they're not allowed to have inhalers and shit like that. They're told.
Yeah.
So
you can't. No,
he should have lost that fight. You can't do that. You can't just think, well, I'll use an inhaler, but no one else can. No, fuck all that. You lose.
Exactly. Because even if you don't have asthma, that increases your lung capacity. Like it is. Yeah. I'm not saying intentionally cheated, but it was right to be overturned because he broke the rule. I think they were very generous in making that no contest, to be honest.
Yeah.
And then he lost to Volkov, and Volkov's very good, so I think he's getting back on there.
I think so.
Yeah, am I set? I do. And the fact that he's already holding his own, not got a 6-2 record, and he's only been doing MMA for like 3 years, been competing for 2 now. I'd say he's done pretty fucking well for, all but for 5 out of his 8 fights to be in the UFC. That's very respectable.
Yeah, we'll see.
Jury's still out on that one, I suppose. But this next match, catch weight, because Stevens missed weight, so that took place above the featherweight limit. It took place at 150.
That was a weird one, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I thought Stevens started off very, very strongly, but then Calvin Kattar just
I thought Kattar looked like he was a weight division above Stevens anyway. He looked huge.
Yeah. He's just like, weight cut, fine. Like, we have to fight at catch weight. He looks like he could compete at welterweight, Yeah,
I don't know where Stevens goes from here. It's a shame.
I love watching his fights. He's always fun to watch. Always sparks fly, mostly end in knockouts. But I don't know. I don't think he's going to challenge for the title. I just don't think it's in the cards for him, sadly.
Well, we said that about a lot of people, so we'll see. Hopefully,
I hope so. Well, people could have said that about Masvidal, and then here we are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, very competitive fight. Looking for. I had not heard of Calvin Kattar before this, but
I've seen it a few times. I thought Kattar was probably going to win this. I did. Stevens was an underdog for a reason. But yeah, I like Stevens. I think Stevens is a really good fighter. I'd love to see him win more than he does, but he doesn't. It's a shame.
He just always puts on a good show. He's one of those ones that even if you don't win, he can rely on him. He's a very, very...
got a good fight, yeah.
Yeah. Next one, there's not much to say about this. Francis Ngannou versus Rosenstruck or Rosenstrike.
Yeah, as we did go into this earlier on, I don't think that Ngannou has changed as a fighter. I don't. I think that he is doing the same things that he always did. And if he fought like that, right, on the face of it, like a first round knockout, that's great, right? It's great. A first round knockout, you must be a beast. Yeah, okay. But, like, it's only if you catch him. Like, you swung 4 times and missed by a country mile and then caught him with the 5th, yeah?
Yeah.
Like, what happens if you're against somebody that can nudge you on the chin before you connect with that 5th? I just don't see an awful lot of technique there. I mean, he's all power. He's all swing and go. And fair play to him. I love to watch it. I do. I love to watch it.
I think like real knockouts.
Great. But I don't think that if you put him against somebody who's elite in the heavyweight division or the light heavyweight division for that matter, I don't think he beats him. I don't think he beats John Jones. Don't think he beats Daniel Cormier. I don't think he beats Stipe Miocic. Fighting like that. Fighting the way that he... Based on his last fight, I don't see any of those 3 wins happening.
Yeah, I don't see it because they're all 3 of them, especially DC, are superb wrestlers. And all of them have chins. I've seen them all take amazing shots. It's amazing punishment. And
they're all smart enough to get out of the way of those big looping punches.
Especially if he's throwing them wild like that.
Yeah.
I love Ngannou. I think he's always... Apart from that weird anomaly, which was the Ngannou Lewis, but he's always good to watch.
Don't get me wrong, right? If Ngannou makes contact, he's going to knock out anybody that's in front of him. So he could very well win the belt if he just swings his fists and knocks people out. But what I'm saying is that there are holes there to be exploited, and I think that the best of the best are going to exploit them.
Exactly. I mean, if you're careful and you've got a chin or you've got some wrestling ability based on that. I've seen a lot of comparison that essentially Ngannou is kind of... Because it's a stupid comparison for people who don't know anything about fighting to compare him to Mike Tyson, because yes, he's got power, but Mike Tyson had such underrated technique.
Mike Tyson, from a technical perspective, was almost perfect.
Oh, he was beautiful.
Yeah, no, there isn't even a comparison. Like, Ngannou is brute force, whereas Tyson...
He's more the Deontay Wilder of MMA. Like, just swing, amazing power.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's way more apt.
Yeah, it's why the Tyson comparison really annoys me, because yes, he had the brutal power to knock people out, and I've seen him before, but think about how he got into those positions, how he sets up those combinations, his lateral movement. It's insulting. It's like comparing like a, Italian, they make 3 cases a year, like 1 to 3 cases a year wine to the shit you get out of a bag in Lidl,
Those words. I don't know where you were going with that, but
I'll always love watching Ngannou's fights, and he comes across as a really nice man. And
I'm the same. I think he's an excellent fighter.
Like fucking get himself from Cameroon to France, and then get himself trained, and to get to the level he is at now. And
I could do that. I've got a passport.
Yeah, but at least you're able to read and shit. But
you can read.
And for him to have like relative inexperience and do what he's done, like mad respect for him. But unless we haven't had to, if we haven't seen it and he suddenly became really proficient at wrestling and he can take his time and wait to unload, I think his fights with those sort of fighters become very predictable.
Same.
Sorry, we appear to have lost you. Lost Alex again. What I was saying?
No, I'm still there.
Oh, excellent. Sorry, it cut out for a bit. But yeah, what were you saying?
No, I just said same basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Ngannou's a good fighter, but I don't think he beats the Elite.
Yeah, there was that kind of anomaly where he did knock out Velasquez, but that wasn't the same Cain that won the title, or had that amazing trilogy with Santos, or
no, it was the same Cain. It was the same guy. I just he was a bit older, as all. Like I say, I don't like it when people say, "Oh, it wasn't the same guy." It's like, yeah, it was. It was the same person. It was still Cain Velasquez. Like that, you only start calling them done after they've been done. That make sense?
Yeah, totally makes sense, mate. Yeah.
If Cain Velasquez had come back and beaten the brakes off of Francis Ngannou, we'd be fucking still saying that Cain Velasquez is the greatest of all time. No?
Yeah. I see what you're saying there. I suppose all I was saying was adding an asterisk that, 3 or 4 neck surgeries may take a toll, but then he did still come back at 200 and starch Travis Brown.
Not. Neck surgery ain't shit.
Very definitive statements. That's why we love you on the Fightcast, Alex. I'll put that on a t-shirt if this gets to neck surgeries ain't shit.
Neck surgeries ain't shit.
But I suppose we've covered that one fairly. But bantamweight title fight: Henry Triple C Cejudo, the King of Cringe, versus Dominic the Dominator Cruz. His first fight back for a while. Goes straight back into the title mix because he's one of the best to ever do it. So there's not much.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
His first fight since his decision loss to Cody Garbrandt, and he lost to TKO knees and punches, which he was not happy about, and he's had a lot to say about. And a lot of people have been complaining about the stoppage, but I thought personally Henry was all over him.
Yeah, I thought he got caught by a knee, right?
Yeah.
He looked like he was going down. He looked like he was done. And that's what the referee started reacting to. The referee then made the decision to call the fight. But by the time he got in onto him, because it's a split-second thing, it's a split-second decision. By the time he got into them, fucking Cruz was trying to get back to his feet. But at the time he decided to call the fight, it looked like Cruz was done. I've seen way worse stoppages than that, man. Don't get caught by the knee. Don't do that. You want the ref to call the fight? Don't look like you're getting knocked out.
Yeah, all Mr. Peterson, the referee, was trying to save him of was like brain damage, And
come on, let's be fair. Look, it's bantamweights. Brain damage ain't really on the cards, is it?
Exactly. Well, fair point. But he was trying to save him from some unnecessary shots. Let's put it that way. And yes, I think you can't really argue with that. We'll go on to the first kind of talking point that sprung out of that. He obviously had a lot to say about it on Twitter, and also claimed that Dominic, the referee,
Keith Peterson was drunk or whatever.
Yeah, or smelled of alcohol and cigarettes.
Look, at the end of the day, right?
Have you seen Keith Peterson's responses to that on?
I did. Yes, I did see that. Hilarious, by the way. Keith Peterson, brilliant,
very, very funny.
But what I would say is, if you thought your referee was drunk and incapacitated, you would say something before the fight started. You would say something. You'd say, "Hey guys, I want someone else to ref this fight. This guy's drunk," right?
Yeah.
And then they'll bring someone in. Look, at the end of the day, right? If he really was drunk, someone else other than Dominic Cruz would have picked up on it.
Exactly. It wasn't like it was him and Henry were the only two people there. There was the boss, Dana. There was the judges. There was his crew. If he was that pissed that he visibly looked drunk and stunk of booze and fags, someone would have pointed out.
I hide my alcoholism pretty well, but it's a hard thing to do.
It's a gift. Not everyone's blessed with that gift.
Exactly. Keith Peterson is, though. I mean, you can tell. You can tell that guy's a drink. I mean, whether he was drunk on that night or not, he can tell he's a drinker.
Yeah, and I love how he said, like, I don't know why you're saying these things. I thought I stepped in early to save you from brain damage.
Yeah.
And the other thing he said, which I thought was a very fair point, was that, you know, the ref, he's all business, but when he's on Twitter and when he's not in an official capacity, he has every right, and I agree, to defend himself and his reputation.
How is he? Yeah, fair play. Yeah, I like Keith Pearson. I think it's funny. I thought it was funny what he posted as well.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious. And I thought the stoppage was fine, and Cejudo won, and that was good, but he's quote unquote retired.
Yeah, don't buy it
briefly, but
don't buy it. Yeah,
I'm gonna smell. I'm gonna call the bovine waste button on that, and I think you feel the same.
Yeah, no, he's trying to get more money for his next fight. That's what he's trying to do. Fair play to him. Fair enough.
To be fair,
he's not retired. He's not retired.
Yeah, it's a negotiation ploy, because I remember this. I see through it like I see through McGregor's Twitter retirement. It's just not happened. Not happening.
He has not withdrawn from the USADA testing pool, so he has not retired.
Exactly.
Facts.
I don't agree with it. He does deserve more money, absolutely. Now he's beaten DJ Dillashaw and Cruz. You know, there's two proper super fights left for him. I think he'd handle.
I don't know. Maybe
Garbrandt, Holloway, Volkanovski.
Maybe he deserves more money. Maybe he doesn't. I would say that's up to the fucking bosses. I think that they know how many pay-per-views he pulls in, how many t-shirts he sells. That's what it's based on. So, if Mighty Mouse can't sell that division, then I'm skeptical as to whether Henry Cejudo can. Maybe not. Yeah. But I don't think he sells enough pay-per-views for Dana White to be fucking crying if he does threaten to retire. I think Dana White's just like, yeah, fair enough, whatever.
Yeah, I think he might. I don't think he'll add an extravagant sum, but he might add a bit more just to keep him happy, and maybe, you know. I
don't know if he'll even do that. We might even take it as an insult. We might even be like, yeah, no, fuck you.
Yeah, well, knowing Dana, he's a law unto himself. But
I don't know Dana.
You don't mind him, or you don't like him?
I don't know him. I love him. I think he's great. I think he's done a brilliant job with the fucking.
Yeah, I'm personally a fan of Dana. I think he's very entertaining. You know, sometimes you need to take what he says with a pinch of salt, but he's the CEO of a company. He can't talk to you like you are just down the pub as a mate, can he?
No.
But yeah, I'd like to see a Cejudo versus the winner of Holloway and Volkanovski fight, but because I'm such a mark for the bigger divisions, I wouldn't lose sleep over it if I didn't see it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, this is my problem. I'm not hugely into the lower weight classes. I mean, it sounds bad, but it's just it's not as much fun as watching the bigger guys fight. For me, it is. I mean, skill wise, I can see the skill there. Obviously, Mighty Mouse Johnson is one of the best to ever do it, but when people talk about, I hate the whole pound for pound argument. It's bullshit. It's like you telling me that, like, people are like, pound for pound, Mighty Mouse is the best to ever do it. Is he? Excuse me, sorry. Or would Stipe Miocic kick his ass? Because the thing is, right, is pound for pound is bullshit, because you're saying that if they're both the same size, well, if they're both the same size, then he'd be bigger, then he wouldn't be able to do things that he does, or he'd be smaller, so he wouldn't have the power. It's retarded. It's just a retarded argument. It's ridiculous.
It is.
It doesn't make any sense, right? Fact of the matter is, Stipe Miocic is the heavyweight champion of the world. He's defended it more than any other person. He's the baddest man on the planet right now. That is that simple.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't fancy his chances in a boxing match against Tyson Fury, because Tyson Fury would box him up, because it's two different sports. That's another thing that I get pissed off with. It's the whole, like, MMA versus boxing thing. They're two different sports. The rules of the arena dictate the winner of the fight.
Exactly. It's totally hypothetical nonsense. It's like if I had a vagina, I'd be a woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, if my auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
hate
two different disciplines. You know.
It's like I saw someone post on the MMA thing on Facebook. They're like, oh, do you think that if Mike Tyson like started training now in like wrestling, jiu-jitsu, then he would do really well in the UFC? And I just literally responded saying, well, I think that if Jack Black was to train in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and kickboxing and was an NCAA standard wrestler, he would do quite well in the UFC.
You can't even
that was my response,
an argument
because
like
that's exactly it's the same thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If fucking, oh god damn it. Anyway, so I'm going off on a tangent.
It's fine. Like kind of similar to when obviously Conor fought Floyd. He did a lot better than me and a lot of other people expected. He didn't disgrace himself, but he never had a hope in hell, and only the super con.
Floyd was just trying to bait him into a longer fight. That's what he was doing.
Yeah, he was giving people their money's worth. You could see him. He wasn't. He didn't take a sip of water till I think the 7th or 8th round when he was starting to put it on him.
And people are trying to tell me that McGregor will win a rematch. Fuck you.
No, but Mayweather was being nice to him. He was saving him. He was saving him up for. He was being dignified.
Yeah, they literally said to him, "Okay, go out and finish it." Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And and then he had that exhibition against the Japanese kickboxer. And he finished him in 2 rounds because he wanted to get on the plane in time to have New Year's celebration in Las Vegas with his strippers.
Yeah,
he could put them all. He's the best. He's arguably the best to ever do it, boxing wise. I'd probably say that's Sugar Ray Robinson, but that's personal taste.
Nah, Sugar Ray Robinson was a hack. I'm kidding. I don't really know an awful lot about boxing or Sugar Ray Robinson, if I'm honest.
God, fire takes.
I just like
boxing.
I just like throwing stuff out there for every now and again. So sometimes if I know my friends who are into grunge music and shit, I'm just like, yeah, that Nirvana band, they were a bit shit, weren't they?
Yeah, eh? One of the most overrated.
And they're like, and they start shouting at me. I'm like, no, but they'll start shouting at me. I'm just like, yeah. But like, in fairness, even Kurt Cobain knew they were shit. Why else would he kill himself? You know?
I don't know. Have you
ever killed
Courtney Love?
Oh, well, no. I'd like to, though. Even now. She's got that kind of heroin addict appeal. That shit. Sorry, I'm going out on a tangent. I'm going on one of my comedy tangents, and I shouldn't really, because this is an MMA podcast.
That is all right.
Fightcast.
I will allow it with the Fightcast. But, we were on to the final one. Gagey putting in a hellacious performance to finish Tony late in the 5th round.
I was very happy with this because just a little shameless plug here. Just type in #TerribleBets on Instagram. I'm the only person that does #TerribleBets to my knowledge. So you will see that I predicted this. I predicted this very thing happening. Tony Ferguson gets hit. He gets hit a lot. And if you get hit against Justin Gaethje, it might well be the end of your night. And you know what? Ferguson lasted a lot longer than I thought he would. Like, the man's the Terminator. I don't even understand it. I don't even understand how he could take that much punishment.
It was ridiculous how he lasted. Like most other fighters would be finished in the 1st or 2nd round from that.
Yeah, ridiculous. But with that being said, he didn't look good. Do you know what I mean? He got battered. Like Gaethje just outclassed him from start to finish.
Yeah.
Justin Gaethje just might be the best lightweight on the planet right now. He might be. You know? We need to see him fight Khabib. But I mean, like, nobody's unbeatable. Like, Khabib might well take him down and dominate him, but Gaethje's a solid wrestler, very solid wrestler. And in order to get him down, Khabib has to close the distance. And to do that, he's going to have to get hit. And Gaethje can throw, man. That kid can hit. I'm looking forward to, like I said, Tony Ferguson. I don't think he's got anything to be ashamed of, really. I thought the fight, it was a good stoppage. I thought arguably should have been stopped sooner. But,
yeah.
I mean, it was just, what it reminded me of was, did you ever see the fight, Robbie Lawler against Roy McDonald, where McDonald was so battered, so beaten? Yeah, it reminded me of that, when that jab just caught him right in the nose and Tony started just shaking his head. It reminded me of when Lawler just bopped him on the nose, like after he'd taken so much punishment, and you could just tell that McDonald's brain wasn't firing right anymore, and he just fell over on the floor. It was almost like he was being tasered. That's what it looked like. It looked like, you know, he got shocked on the nose, and Ferguson was going back, just kind of just shaking his head. Just didn't look. It looked like not everything was firing correctly. You know.
Yeah.
It was a very fair stoppage. I thought it should have maybe been stopped between rounds. I mean, even the state of Gaethje's hands afterwards. Fucking hell, man!
Like just been ploughing into his face. Like he's
like
doing to
his hands looked so bad. Like you could see the blood coming up. He wiped it away, and all of a sudden it was all just there again because it was just pouring out his fingers. I was like, Jesus, man.
He put some force behind those.
He did, yeah. Excellent fight.
Absolutely,
possibly one of the best fights of all time.
I'd say so. It
was wonderful. It was a great fight, and hats off to Tony and hats off to Gaethje. Gaethje looked sensational. Tony hopefully will be back and can find his way back to title contention.
Yeah, he's certainly still one of the best to ever do it, and one of the best in the division currently. So, he comes out of this looking like a warrior. One of them will face Khabib next. The other will face McGregor. I don't know in what order, but those are both huge. Those are all huge fights.
What I've heard is that apparently in the summer, because they still can't get Khabib to agree to a date, so I think they're talking about doing Conor versus Gaethje. Or no. Sorry, I misspoke. They can't get Khabib over the spring until Ramadan's finished. So in the summer, they're looking at doing Gaethje versus Khabib with Conor versus Diaz 3 as the co-main.
Ooh, that'd be a tasty evening.
July, I think. August, maybe. I don't know.
No, whenever that happens, it's worth the wait. Hell of a fight.
Hell yeah.
Both on occasions. Been waiting for that trilogy fight, and Gaethje versus Khabib is very intriguing. Do you think Gaethje has a chance against Khabib?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I think he does. I think he really does. I think actually he's got a better chance than most people think, because as I said, in order to get the fight to the ground, Khabib's got to close the distance. You close the distance against Gaethje, he can put your lights out, man. He can do it. And Gaethje's wrestling is good. Gaethje might well be able to stop Khabib from taking him down. Ally Quinter did it.
Yeah.
Ally Quinter stopped Khabib from taking him down for the last 3 rounds. But he just didn't really have the power to capitalize. Gaethje's got that power, man. Gaethje has it.
Gaethje has the most power in the division, for sure.
I think that we could see Gaethje beating Khabib. I genuinely believe that.
It wouldn't be as much of a shock or far-fetched for me as it was before the Ferguson fight, but now I'm seeing that being a very... It's a 50-50 fight now, him versus Khabib, in a way that I thought Khabib-McGregor wasn't.
Oh, Khabib-McGregor was never... McGregor wasn't winning that fight. I still don't think he does. That's why I don't think that McGregor should fight Khabib again. Because to be fair, I'm not a fighter. McGregor's more disciplined and more fucking committed to fighting than I could ever even fucking possibly comprehend. Do you know what I mean? So who the fuck am I to say that he can't come back and be better and beat Khabib? Maybe he can. Do you know? maybe he can.
Yeah, I wouldn't count out McGregor. I wouldn't count out any of these 4 men because, you know, they're the best in that division. They're some of the best active fighters now. They'll go down as some of the best in history. And, you know, whatever happens with the fallout of that, you'd be absolutely grand. But I would say this was a 5-star pay-per-view. What would you concur with me on that?
Oh yeah, this was a 5-star. Yeah.
One of the best UFCs I've seen in quite some time. One of the best. It was solid.
Yeah, I'd have to go with you on that. Yeah, I mean, it was a good card and it delivered. That's what I'd say.
Yeah,
good card,
especially under fucking mental circumstances.
Exactly.
But yeah, I had a lot of fun watching this, and we've got some good fights in the near future that me and Alex will analyse. But this has been the Fightcast. I've been Aaron Hood. We've been joined by Alex Green. Thank you, Alex Green.
No problem at all, man. Appreciate it.
This has been the Fightcast. Stay safe, stay hydrated, and most importantly, stay the fucking side. We will see you soon.
If you can't stay inside, stay drunk. You heard?
Exactly. Words of wisdom. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye.